I see everything that you are. I always have. Don't be afraid. So much pain in you. So much rage that you can't contain it. Are the same. So, who's the monster?
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Echo, streaming right now on Disney Plus. 5 episodes, quick and easy binge. Check it out, the latest from Disney and Marvel. I'm Kuya, this is Nerds Rule the World, and joining me to talk all things Echo and give you our review is my pal Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk all things Echo. Even I hadn't had a chance to talk about it yet. Generally, we do breakdowns per episode and like some of the other seasons we've done and covered. But here we've got it all in one nutshell. They delivered it to us all in one package. Quick and easy binge. I really enjoyed it, but let's, I guess, before we get into like our review, what did you think, I guess, of the overall story? And then I guess we'll get characters and then our review. What do you think? Let's go.
I enjoyed it from the overall story. It's not like your typical Marvel stories. It's very, there was one person who said that it's almost documentarian style. It's you've got a life story, you have a growing up story, you have this story that is less magical and more personal. It was definitely not as cohesive as I think I would have liked it to be. But other than that, and I honestly feel like it probably should have been closer to 4 episodes than 5. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It's a fun show. It's a good reflective show on characters that are outside of your norm. They don't need to be heterosexual white men to be a good superhero. Or to be a good anti-hero in so many cases.
Tell it. When I first started checking it out, it really gave me the OG Marvel Netflix vibes. You know, before, Marvel was all up on Disney Plus, it was all on Netflix with Daredevil, Iron Fist, Cage. It kind of gave us those vibes. Defenders, Jessica Jones. I'm like, they're all rattling off in my head right now. But with this Echo, we got her originally in Hawkeye, I think it was, on Disney Plus. And now this miniseries, which was kind of like out of nowhere. And a lot of people are like, who is this character if they weren't tapped in? But super nerds were tapped in. And I thought it was great. I thought it was good to kind of like offshoot. A lot of people didn't have to have like stuff in their head. They could go into it fresh. And I thought they delivered on it and kind of gave you that refreshing look back at the to like Marvel Netflix stuff if you wanted a grittier Disney Plus type of show. And I really enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed with this, and being a person of color, the love for Choctaw, the indigenous stuff, the elements that they really put in, and especially also the for the deaf community, all of the signage was very prevalent. Spoilers, there's a scene towards the final episodes where Kingpin has like this device that he can understand sign language to communicate with Maya Lopez, aka Echo, that I thought was really cool and would something I'd love to see in the future, to be honest. That for all of us to be able to communicate and understand, I thought that was really cool. But Yeah, there's a lot to love, at least for me. I really enjoyed this series. I thought Alaqua Cox was phenomenal as our Echo / Maya Lopez. I really loved, as a fan of Reservation Dogs, like Devery Jacobs, a lot of some of the actors we love from that show making appearances in this. But really, yeah, that indigenous stuff that kind of starts at the end, and to kind of just show like the connection to ancestors, which I kind of want to lead into my question to you, Heather, as the comics head. You knowing more the background and comic side of things with Echo, or at least I think you do. I don't know. I didn't ask you beforehand. I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot, but I know that she has more like Taskmaster powers in the comic book, whereas here it seems like she has the power of her ancestors, which is kind of weird and cool in different ways. I was trying to understand kind of like power sets. My wife was even asking me as we watched it. And I just want to throw in, as her as being like the non-comics reader vibe, and her watching this with me, she really got into the series. Like we straight up binged it because we had it like early, and then it's really cool that it all came out. And but to you, comics TV version that we got, what did you think about that elements, or were you cool with that?
There's definitely a very different. One of the things that we have talked about on this channel many times is the separation of church and state. There are going to be differences. There are going to be changes. There are going to be ways that it has to be manipulated to better show on film or television, or to reintroduce a character that many people don't know about, or many people have never heard of. And especially if they are going into movies and film and things that are going to happen in the future. Echo herself, Maya Lopez, she's actually Cheyenne, not Comanche in the comics, but there were alliances between those tribes. I'm not sure how the current tribes are about that change. I'd be very curious to hear their opinions. But it's one of those where the big takeaway was that she kept her basic roots. There are a lot of characters that have been changed, and they are no longer people of color. They are no longer indigenous peoples. They are no longer from international countries. They are, who they are, so that they can fit into this appearance. But it was really nice to see Maya keep at least some of that some of the basics that David Mack and Joe. I'm going to die. Joe Quesada. There we go. I'm like, who did it?
Oh, Joe, you co-created Echo with David Mack?
Yep. And don't get mad at me, comic book fans. I'm just brain dead today. Don't get mad. I knew it was Quesada. Don't get mad. But yeah, her powers kind of changed. Like many comic book characters, her powers did kind of change. They were, yes, more Taskmaster. But you saw a lot of that in the initial episode, which was basically just a rehash of a lot of the stuff we already saw in Hawkeye, which is why I called out that I think it could kind of have been just adjusted down. We didn't need a half episode of her backstory. It could have told you to go watch Hawkeye. To tag in there from a comic book perspective, one of the great things about comics is, especially with long-running characters, long-running series, you can pick up a book and it'll actually, in the pages of the comics, tell you where to go. Oh, you didn't know that this happened in a war? Go back to Batman number 486 and you'll see this. And you go back to Captain America number 841. It'll tell you to do that. And I think we could have done that here, but side story or side opinion. But yeah, she was always meant to watch. She was meant to see and view, and her disability led to Kingpin, led to Fisk believing something that she really wasn't, and she learned things, she adapted, she did everything that the MCU Maya Lopez did very well as well. However, she does get some very interesting powers when she does things like join the Phoenix Force in the comics. So things change, things stay the same. I think that with what they gave her, her adaptability and her mystical powers came from a place that were inherent to her original character. And that's the important thing to me. And I'm hoping that a lot of people agree to that. So
yeah. I thought it was cool. Obvious they're going to do the changes, like you said, but I thought it was cool. And it only made me think that, man, if other certain characters could like have the power of their ancestors, woo!
Well, this is actually, we have to look at it as a theme. This is technically something that we've also seen in shows like Black Panther. The position is something that is handed down from generation to generation. And it's great to see that there are the MCU is an expansive universe. That's something that we really, really need to that shows like this really help us take a step back and realize we're not looking at the simplicity of a mythical character becoming a superhero in Thor. We are looking at characters who have been doing this for generations, groups of people that have been doing this and have been alive for centuries. We are seeing an expansive universe and people growing and people changing and the universe changing and seeing new elements with it. And that's what human life is. That is what the world is. We don't stay in one place. We grow, we adapt, we learn from our past mistakes, we learn from our heritages. And some peoples have incredible heritages that should be learned about more widely. I don't know. I had words going, but I couldn't.
No, I love it. And that's what's so beautiful about this series. Again, every episode opened up with just the richness of her cultural and her history and her ancestors, and giving you some of that tie-in. I just thought it was so amazing. Like, I remember hearing about the Great Mound in the middle of the US, and just hearing how a lot of native history, indigenous culture was just stripped away by white American history that was only taught in the books. We had some elements, and then it kind of surpassed that. And they were on the Trail of Tears, and just the richness of what was existing here before. We got a little bit, and just how everything is also tied together. I could go on about history. I love it, but just really well done. I also want to give a shout out before we tap off on this is Vincent D'Onofrio. Come on, man, that dude is Kingpin, just like Patrick Stewart is Professor X in a lot of ways. Did he not shine in this? Love, yeah, there you go.
He is. D'Onofrio is one of those guys that he has truly loved being in this universe. And what's really funny is during the first episode, all I could think about is thank you and Men in Black. Oh my gosh, thank you, Men in Black. But it's one of those where he has loved being in this universe. He has supported and shouted out and been a major key player, not only in front of the camera, but behind it. It was really important for him. He was apparently one of the foremost voices in learning how to speak sign language when Alaqua Cox joined the cast. He is an incredible Fisk, and I'm so happy that we get to see him as. And I love the Netflix series, don't get me wrong, but I'm so happy that we get to see him as the real Fisk in this universe. I'm so excited to see him, and I can't wait to see him grow more into this universe.
Same. So with that said, spoilers, y'all, maybe cut right here. Where do you think we're going? Because Heather, I thought this was phenomenal. My wife and I, again, she really enjoyed this series. I can't wait to see where we're going to go more with this character, but also kind of how we ended this one with, running for political office. It kind of has echoes of another shady person that became a president out of New York.
I mean, Fisk was always supposed to go in this direction. I do like that they are keeping to the comics. He does take political office multiple times at times. And he is the kingpin. He is manipulative. He is money. He is everything that the 1% can be. And then take even grandiose positions of power. Do I think this is going to lead straight into Daredevil on purpose? Because we did get to see him. We did get to see how he impacted. I do think so. I do think what we are going to see is, from the Disney Plus perspective of this side of the universe, I think we are going to see him pulling strings. And I would not be surprised if we see Fisk in like every single series. And I'm including shows like The Future of Loki. Just pulling strings, making decisions, changing the universe in his favor. I could totally see it. Just Fisk and all the things. Make sure, big thing, make sure you're paying attention to Easter eggs, not only in Echo, but in other shows, because you will see Fisk's, where his tendrils just reach out to. You will see it. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Did you see the Roxanne gas station as she was driving on the bike? I was like, Roxanne! Yeah, I'm excited. I think they're gonna go to Daredevil Born Again is like the next Disney Plus.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
So that would make sense. Kingpin now after this being born again, and now coming into office or whatever. Or if it starts with him, I don't know. I'm excited. I really had a lot of fun with this, y'all. So Echo streaming right now. 5 episodes, easy to digest. Alaqua Cox is amazing. Hopefully we'll see her more as this character. She has a costume now that's born of her heritage. Yeah, a lot of fun with the series. And again, to the deaf community, I wanted to like learn more to like, I've always been intrigued with signing. It just made me more intrigued, and I just really loved how it honored that. So honoring the culture and honoring our deaf community was just fantastic with the series. Highly recommend. I had a lot of fun with Echo. So there you go, Heather. You had fun. We had fun. If they want to talk more things Echo, our links are in the description below. Hit us up. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Last thing real quick though, I just want to point out, if you can, make sure that you are watching those special edition versions subbed and dubbed. Do things like watch ASL for Barbie, watch the Comanche version of Echo. Make people and make the production companies remind them that there are communities out there that really benefit from this. So please make sure that even if you just turn it on in the background and you're not paying attention to it, put those versions of the shows of your favorite movies on. That way more of this can come out, because these are reaching incredible communities that feel seen. And just make sure you do it. Turn them on in the background.
Heck yeah. You know what? That was one thing I wanted to bring up when we did this review. So I'm so thankful you remembered, because my memory is getting old. So yes, highly recommend. Media content like this should be reachable to everyone. And and Prey, throw that in the list, because didn't they do Prey in the language as well?
Yes, Prey was in. Oh my goodness, I'm going to. We have Tiger Lily speaking Cree in Peter Pan. We have, oh my goodness, which language was it? It wasn't. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. We'll put it in the comments. I'm sorry. I put a TikTok up. There are loads and loads of shows, especially with Disney. Opinions of Disney aside, based off current events, they are doing a lot of great stuff with Native American languages. We have Star Wars in Navajo, even though it's technically Lucasfilms. We've got some really cool projects. Make sure you support them. There's a lot of really great stuff.
That's beautiful. Exactly. So beautiful that we get that. And it just enriches the experience. I just think it's amazing. There you go, y'all. Echo streaming right now. Disney Plus. Kuya P, Heather Hurt, Nerds Rule the World. Those are our thoughts on Echo. Recommend. We out.
Comanche.
There you go.